This year marks the 30th anniversary of so many beloved movies from 1992. There's Batman Returns, one of the great sequels of the franchise that continues to grow in popularity. There's Basic Instinct, which marked the major breakthrough of Sharon Stone. There's box office behemoths like Aladdin, The Bodyguard, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And there's Unforgiven, which went on to win the Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture. But for many, including myself, our most beloved film from 1992 remains Penny Marshall's wildly entertaining, perfectly cast, emotionally heartfelt, and completely timeless A League of Their Own. There's nothing I don't adore about this absolutely wonderful movie. It makes me laugh so damn hard. It makes me cry every single time. From the sparkling characters to the great humor to the scenes toward the end that pack an emotional wallop, A League of Their Own is a gem, an endlessly rich cinema experience that remains just as watchable today as it was then. And 3 decades on, no one would blame you to think that this historical comedy drama, with its excellent screenplay, direction, and performances, gorgeous art direction and costumes, and that haunting Madonna end credit song, received lots of awards nominations in its day at the Golden Globes, BAFTA, and Oscars. Yes, A League of Their Own did get 2 Golden Globe nominations at the 1993 ceremony, Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical for Geena Davis, and Best Original Song for This Used to Be My Playground. But outside of the MTV Movie Awards and the American Comedy Awards, that's where the awards train stopped for A League of Their Own. It didn't pick up any BAFTA Award nominations, and shockingly to me, and I'm sure a little shocking to you too, the film didn't receive a single nomination at the 65th Annual Academy Awards. Nothing. I find this truly baffling and more than a bit bizarre. A League of Their Own did well with critics, and it was a huge moneymaker for Sony Pictures, earning over $130 million worldwide on a $40 million budget. Penny Marshall and Tom Hanks had collaborated just 4 years prior on the Oscar-nominated box office smash Big. Geena Davis was hot off her Oscar nomination for Thelma and Louise, which came out the year before. What happened here? What went wrong? Why the hell was A League of Their Own so ignored during the 1993 award season? In my new series, Oscar Omissions, I'm going to talk about movies I love that should have been part of the Oscar conversation, but somehow turned up with nothing on nominations morning. For A League of Their Own, I'll break up the video in 3 parts. First, some background about the movie and why it was set up to be a genuine Oscar contender. Second, the categories I think it had the best chance to make it into. And third, the reasons why I believe the movie was ultimately ignored by the Academy. Let's go back to July 1st, 1992. It's the middle of the summer movie season, and major action and comedy films are at the top of the box office. Batman Returns is currently the big moneymaker, audiences young and old checking out the latest in the franchise, despite people in the media complaining that the film is just a little bit too dark to sell toys at McDonald's.
It was very violent. It was a total attack against kids, the whole movie.
Danny, did you see younger kids in the theater when you went to see it? How many times have you seen it?
I saw it twice to get a real good view of it.
There's Unlawful Entry with Kurt Russell, Patriot Games with Harrison Ford. On the comedy side, Whoopi Goldberg is breaking out the dance moves in Sister Act, and Goldie Hawn is taking advantage of Steve Martin in House Sitter. July 1st gave us another star-studded comedy, Boomerang, starring Eddie Murphy, but audiences were hungering for more around this time. There comes a point in every summer movie season, I think, where we get a little tired of the formulaic plots and all the spectacle, and we look for something with some humor, sure, and some entertainment value, but also a little more substance. And the film we got that summer that checked off all those boxes was A League of Their Own, written by Lowell Gans and Babaloo Mandel, and directed by Penny Marshall, about 2 sisters, Kit and Dottie, who in 1943 joined the first female professional baseball league, their rivalry growing as they struggled to help the league succeed.
No high ones.
I like the high ones.
Mule.
Nag.
The director of Big and Awakenings was inspired to make A League of Their Own after she saw the 1987 documentary about the subject. 20th Century Fox passed on the script, but Sony Pictures signed on soon thereafter. Actresses auditioning for the film had to prove they could play baseball, and the chosen cast members took part in baseball training for months before the start of principal photography. Everyone, that is, except Geena Davis, who joined the production as a late replacement for Deborah Winger. Tom Hanks, looking to make a break from the series of flops he'd made in the last few years, gained 30 pounds in preparation for his supporting role of Jimmy Dugan, and Lori Petty auditioned 8 times for the role of Kit before she got cast. During the production, many of the injuries and bruises were real injuries sustained by the actresses, and many of the women we see at the end are the real original League players portrayed in the film. A League of Their Own was definite counter-programming in the summer of 1992, a film that some studios might have put out in December to capitalize on Oscar season, but Sony Pictures released the PG-rated movie on 4th of July weekend, a time when everyone could see it throughout the long summer months of July and August. The film opened in second place at the box office its first weekend, and then it hit number 1 the following weekend over the new release Universal Soldier. Strong word of mouth for A League of Their Own spread throughout the coming weeks. The reviews for most of the major critics, like Siskel and Ebert, fairly positive.
But they still get to us in the warm ending to this movie that is genuinely nostalgic because we met so many memorable characters.
Going into the 1993 award season, there didn't appear to be too much competition to prevent A League of Their Own from snagging at least a few Oscar nominations. Okay, maybe not Best Picture or Best Director, those are always hard to crack, especially for a summer release, but there are at least 5 Oscar categories A League of Their Own should have made it into, and here they are. Number 1, Best Actress for Geena Davis.
A stunning star in a league of her own, it's Geena Davis.
Ellen Lewis and Amanda Mackie didn't win the Artios Award at Casting Society of America for nothing after all. The ensemble is extraordinary in A League of Their Own, and Geena Davis especially was at the height of her film career after her stunning performance in Thelma and Louise netted her an Oscar nomination for Best Actress the previous year. Davis was also a recent Oscar winner in the Best Supporting Actress category, and her role in A League of Their Own is the heart and soul of the film, effectively the point of view character. She gets plenty of great comedic and dramatic scenes, and she was the only actor from the film to receive an acting nomination at that year's Golden Globe Awards, losing to Miranda Richardson for Enchanted April.
I know nobody ever believes you when you say you're shocked. I'm really shocked and really thankful that you've taken this movie to your hearts. I mean, this is amazing.
When you look at the Best Actress nominees at the 1993 Academy Awards ceremony, I do think there was room for Geena Davis. Only Emma Thompson, the eventual winner, in a film nominated for Best Picture. Indochine marked Catherine Deneuve's only Oscar nomination in her long and terrific career, and the film won the Oscar for Best Foreign Film, so her nomination I'm happy with. The other 3 nominations I feel had some wiggle room. Mary McDonnell for Passion Fish, Michelle Pfeiffer for Love Field, and Davis's Thelma and Louise co-star Susan Sarandon for Lorenzo's Oil. None of those 3 films did very well at the Oscars and other categories, and so I do think there was room for Davis to slip in. If A League of Their Own had been represented that year at the Academy Awards with a single nomination for Geena Davis in the lead actress category, I think history would have looked kindly on it. Number 2, Best Supporting Actor for Tom Hanks.
Star of Big and in A League of Their Own, it's Tom Hanks.
Honestly, this is a nomination I'm kind of shocked didn't happen at the Golden Globes, let alone at the Oscars. Just 4 years prior, Tom Hanks won Best Actor in a Motion Picture Comedy or Musical at the Golden Globes for Big, and he received his first Oscar nomination for the same title, a comedic film. After making a few flops in 1989 and 1990, he had done some of his best work ever in A League of Their Own, returning with his big director, Penny Marshall. Even Gene Siskel, in his televised review, pointed out the chances for Hanks.
And well acted by Tom Hanks, who was smart to take this juicy supporting role. He may have done it as a favor in part to director Penny Marshall, who directed him, of course, in the hit comedy Big, but the guess here is that he will really have done himself and his own career a favor at next year's Oscars.
I mean, seriously, this moment in the movie alone should have gotten Tom Hanks an Academy Award nomination.
Lou quit.
So what happened? Well, maybe Hanks split some nomination votes with Jon Lovitz, who's also hilarious in the film.
See, how it works is, the train moves, not the station.
Maybe Hanks was in enough of the movie for some people to vote for him in the lead actor category, but it's probably the case where Best Supporting Actor was just way too crowded that year. The only person I could see Hanks swapping with is David Paymer for Mr. Saturday Night, a film that severely underperformed at the box office, but Paymer is great in that film, and it's to date his only Academy nom, so yeah, this was a difficult category for Hanks to crack. Number 3, Best Original Song for This Used to Be My Playground. It's one of my favorite Madonna songs of all time. It always makes me think about A League of Their Own, and it's so lovely and haunting as it plays over the end credits of the film, the real female players taking in a round of baseball. This should have been a shoo-in for a Best Original Song nomination at the Academy Awards. It was nominated for Best Original Song at the Golden Globes, and the song Madonna sang in Dick Tracy, Sooner or Later I Always Get My Man, won the Oscar for Best Original Song 2 years prior for Stephen Sondheim. Madonna even performed it, and performed it really well, at the 1991 ceremony. If the Academy didn't want to reward A League of Their Own in any of the top categories, this was clearly the place to at least recognize it for something. Yes, Aladdin was always going to win for A Whole New World, and the amazing songs from The Bodyguard definitely gave it stiff competition, but come on. This Used to Be My Playground could have replaced Beautiful Maria of My Soul from the Mambo Kings. So why didn't This Used to Be My Playground get in? Maybe enough Academy voters thought it wasn't worthy since it played over the end credits and not during a significant scene of the movie. And maybe enough voters just didn't want to nominate Madonna. She has a terrible track record at the Oscars after all, with 0 nominations to date. They could have disliked the Truth or Dare documentary she was in, or the poorly reviewed Body of Evidence, released in January of 1993, and they decided to look elsewhere.
A League of Their Own, the story of the women's baseball team, was wanted you to notice Madonna's performance in that. So they sent from the movie her bustier and cup, which I thought was interesting. It was for Best Supporting Actress, and see that?
Number 4, Best Original Score for Hans Zimmer. I love the score of A League of Their Own. It's such an important character in the film, and if Academy voters were going to overlook This Used to Be My Playground, they could have recognized the lovely score by Hans Zimmer. It's hard to believe it now, but in 1993, Zimmer only had 1 Oscar nomination behind him for 1988's Rain Man. He currently has 12 nominations, and he just won for Dune earlier this year, but 2 years before his first Oscar win for The Lion King, his work went overlooked yet again for A League of Their Own, the same way it was overlooked the year before for Thelma and Louise. Again, Aladdin was always going to win Best Original Score too, but I feel A League of Their Own could have slipped into this category, possibly in place of Basic Instinct or Chaplin. Number 5, Best Costume Design. A League of Their Own is an historical movie, of course, and the costumes designed by Cynthia Flint play such a big part in the film's success. And no, I'm not just talking about the baseball uniforms, which do make up a lot of the running time, but also the costumes the actors wear in the early scenes, and when they're learning to be ladylike, and when they go dancing at night. And what about all the supporting characters and extras in the crowd scenes? This should have been an obvious nomination too. Maybe the women are in their baseball uniforms enough that Academy voters decided to go more creative, instead recognizing the costumes and toys for a nomination, the brilliant costumes in Bram Stoker's Dracula taking the award on Oscar night. But the never-nominated Cynthia Flint should have gotten in too, her work possibly replacing Enchanted April. Those, for me, are just the 5 obvious choices for Oscar categories A League of Their Own should have appeared in. I could also throw out Best Art Direction, Cinematography, Editing, Screenplay, Best Supporting Actress for Lori Petty, hell, Best Picture and Director too. I think it's sinful that the late great Penny Marshall never received an Oscar nomination. Her work on Big, Awakenings, and A League of Their Own, all deserving of the gold trophy. I mean, come on, seriously? 0 Oscar nominations for A League of Their Own? It hurts my heart 3 decades later, this spectacular film with top-notch filmmaking craft, so unfairly dismissed by the Academy. So let's talk about this Oscar omission bonanza. Why did A League of Their Own miss out so completely on Academy Awards nominations morning? Here are the top 5 reasons. The first and most important reason A League of Their Own received 0 nominations is also the most obvious. Its July 1st release date was far enough in the rearview mirror for Academy voters to forget about it. Most of the movies nominated in the top categories were released later in the year, while Unforgiven, which was a box office hit when it came out in August, was just too incredible from top to bottom to overlook come Oscar time. I've said it before and I'll say it again, if A League of Their Own had opened in theaters on Christmas Day 1992, it would have been nominated. The second reason is that A League of Their Own's severe underperformance at the Golden Globe Awards made it clear that other films had risen to the top of awards season. Remember, this is before SAG and Critics' Choice and the onslaught of award ceremonies we get every year now, and a lot of Academy voters looked to the Golden Globes back then. If Tom Hanks had gotten into the supporting category at the Golden Globes, if the movie had placed in picture, comedy, or musical, maybe best screenplay, I wonder if it might have turned up at the Oscars somewhere. Getting in at the Golden Globes for just Gina Davis and original song showed that the enthusiasm for the movie just wasn't there in the weeks leading up to the Oscar nominations. The third reason is that Sony Pictures, the studio behind A League of Their Own, likely gave more of an awards push to its big December release, A Few Good Men. A League of Their Own had come out way back in July, whereas A Few Good Men hit theaters on December 11th, which made it their prime choice for a healthy awards run. It would be fresh in voters' minds, it was a huge hit at the box office that Christmas season, from a successful director, and with an outstanding cast, this was the Sony Pictures movie that could make it into the top categories at the Academy Awards. It received 5 Golden Globe nominations total, and while it only managed 4 at the Oscars, one category it did make it into was Best Picture, something A League of Their Own never had much of a shot at. Sony Pictures also had Bram Stoker's Dracula that holiday season too, which they probably pushed more in the technical categories. The Francis Ford Coppola film ended up winning 3 Oscars: costume design, sound effects editing, and makeup. The fourth and very sad reason A League of Their Own didn't make it in is that enough male Academy voters probably looked at the film as nothing more than a quote-unquote women's movie. Female director, female stars, Hanks in a supporting role. I mean, look at that year's Best Picture nominees: Unforgiven, The Crying Game, A Few Good Men, movies about men. Even Scent of a Woman is about men. Thelma and Louise, also starring Gina Davis, was one of the most original and praised films the year before, and that still didn't make it into the Best Picture category. It's always been hard for movies made by women, about women, to be major players of the Academy Awards, and such was the case for A League of Their Own. The fifth and final reason I'd say is that enough Academy voters might have looked at A League of Their Own as fluffy summer entertainment with too much humor to be taken seriously. Comedies are always difficult to get in at the Oscars, even films like A League of Their Own that have a well-balanced mix of comedy and drama, but think about the one-liners of John Lovitz, the antics of Rosie O'Donnell, the scene of Tom Hanks peeing for seemingly minutes on end. It might have turned them off. Despite the many emotional scenes in the film that ring true, especially toward the end, Academy voters might have unfairly thought of A League of Their Own as too lightweight overall, and thus it fell through the cracks.
By the way, I loved you in The Wizard of Oz.
Hey, who's in my seat?
But I think it's pretty obvious today that A League of Their Own is such a great movie that it should have shown up on Oscar nominations morning in at least a couple technical categories, if not in some major ones.
Back in 1992, Gina and about 600 other women and one guy starred in a film focused directly on gender bias. It was A League of Their Own, directed by the late, great Penny Marshall.
If it had been up to me, this movie would have gotten like 10 nominations. It's a brilliant piece of work, still super popular today, so many people celebrating its 30th anniversary, a new Amazon series launching in just a few short weeks. A League of Their Own is, simply put, one of my favorite films of all time. It's the kind of movie you can return to over and over again, that you can always share with a good friend or a family member, and I think it looks bad for the Academy to have overlooked it the way they did. It's just as bad, if not more so, as them overlooking 2 modern masterpieces of the last decade that I also adore: The Perks of Being a Wallflower, released in 2012, and Hereditary, released in 2018. But more on those movies and their tragic Oscar omissions in the months to come. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what category you wish A League of Their Own had made it into at the 65th Academy Awards. And is there another movie you'd like me to feature in this series, Oscar Omissions? See you next time!